What are teens today not ready to hear?
Before we continue with the video, please hit a subscribe, likes, and comments to make sure you don't miss our next video.
Number 25. Most of the adults giving you advice are still trying to figure out how to navigate their own lives. That isn't to say what they have to offer is all bad, but sometimes it is irrelevant, outdated, or misinformed. At some point, you have to be okay with listening to your own inner voice. Also, reading, as much as I love it, the internet, and public education doesn't hold a candle to real, lived experiences. Go do things that will then make your inner voice more confident and even louder.
Number 24. Your first couple of jobs will not pay very much because your skills are not worth very much when you start off. This isn't an attack on you as a person, you have unimagined potential, but it's you that will need to develop them. Also, some of your bosses are going to be horrible at their jobs, so just move on and recognize that there are cases where it's not you, it's actually them. Be humble. You don't know everything.
Number 23. You are not special. Your effort may be. Your work may be. But you intrinsically are not special. My mommy says I am.
Number 22. Deciding that people of ages older than you don't deserve to be listened to, utilized, allowed to serve in certain capacities, etc., and characterizing advancing age as fundamentally deficient, is a problematic road to head down. Culturally, politically, ethically. Unless you're planning to somehow cease to age or to stop time, you're going to eventually be in that same age group. And I imagine that when you get there, you're going to feel a whole lot differently about the relationship between advancing age and social worth/value. Take care with your attitudes toward age. The elders have the same intrinsic worth as the young.
Number 21. You aren't depressed. You aren't disadvantaged. You probably aren't mentally ill. Your problems are laughably small in the grand scheme of history. You live in the most privileged and prosperous time in human history. Yes, even if you are from a so-called disadvantaged group, you are still more privileged than most would have been a century ago. There's an overwhelmingly good chance that whatever problems you think you have would be dwarfed by those of your grandparents' generation. Many problems of today's youth wouldn't even have registered as a problem mere decades ago. Many of today's teens couldn't function properly in the world a mere 30 years ago with how soft they are. If you really want to be happy, start learning to find gratitude and gratefulness in what you have. Count your blessings. I'm sick of hearing how awful teenagers think they have it. If high school is too hard for you, then God help you when you're out in the real world and can have mommy and daddy fix all your problems for you.
Number 20. Happiness is a skill, some never learn it. Reply. This is very true. Happiness is an internal thing. All the noise of the world is constantly telling us, you can't be happy unless you have goal, that many spend their whole lives chasing what they were told to chase and not being happy.
Number 19. Adults know exactly what you're going through. Just because it's the first time you felt something, doesn't mean you're the first. Also, we aren't making you do things because we get off on your plight. We actually want you to feel happy and satisfied all the time if that means we get some quiet time, but always getting your way can make others around you worse off, and it can make you grow up to be a bad adult. Parenting is a 24-hour job, you being forced to spend a few hours away from your friends will gain you no sympathy.
Number 18. I don't know how to explain it, but that backhanded thing they do where they use sarcasm disguised as a compliment is bullying. I really have no idea how to explain exactly what I'm talking about. I especially see it online, and mostly on apps like TikTok. It's almost always aimed at someone who looks or acts weird. I think a lot of teens don't see it as bullying because it's not very obvious. My younger sister started doing it, but at the same time, she's the type to advocate for victims of bullying. Pissed her off when I told her that she is a bully.
Number 17. Everything in your life right now is a trial run. High school is meant to teach you how to learn, how to communicate, and how to deal with other people. That's it. High school doesn't last forever and it doesn't really mean anything. You most likely won't marry whoever you're dating right now. And that's okay. Most romantic relationships you have will probably fail because you are young and you are both learning how to communicate and figuring out what you want/need in a relationship. Enjoy this time of awkward growth. It's the last time you'll be able to be a kid and not have to worry about adult issues, unless you're unlucky and were dealt a hand in life. Be humble, patient, and kind. I'm rootin' for ya.
Number 16. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Cut back on the sugary now. Take care of your teeth now. Start working out now. You don't have to be a bodybuilder and look like Arnold Schwarzenegger, just be active. Now is the time to get out and do a bunch of crazy but at the same time remember that whatever you do now you pay for 20 years later somehow someway. And this can be taken in a good way or a bad way. Don't want to take care of your teeth now? Have fun dropping $30,000 on your teeth like I had to. Not exercising or eating right? Have fun with that quadruple bypass that my father just had. My girlfriend's parents are older than my parents, but because they do those things they haven't had nearly as much hospital visits as my parents have. By comparison, my parents are falling apart and they're only in the 50s. My girlfriend's parents are in their 70s and objectively are healthier. The big difference? Early in the morning, every morning those two are downstairs working out, hitting the weights and machines for a solid hour or two. Do you want to speed and act a damn fool on the road? Have fun when you have to pay for your own insurance and nobody wants to insure you to drive a f***ing Honda Civic for no less than $350, like me. Even my f***ing car, it was my dream car and it still is the car I would be driving today, had just taken care of the goddamn thing. But no, it started leaking oil and I didn't keep up with it or take it in, and now I have to drive a goddamn Civic when I used to drive a Lexus. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
Number 15. Your metabolism won't last forever. Practice and develop healthy exercise and diet habits now before it gets harder and with more consequences later. I'm just about to turn 30 in a couple weeks. I am 100 pounds heavier than I was in high school. To be fair, I was super tall and skinny to the point of slightly underweight, and that's after losing 25 pounds since the start of July. I have high blood pressure and elevated cholesterol. I am a father of a 2-year-old who doesn't want to die in the 40 to 60 range. I also want to live as a good example to her. Another 35 pounds and I'll reevaluate what my body type is like and reset my goals from there. That would be 240 pounds, which I was about 4 years ago, but it would also be a more muscular/trimmed 240. I'll determine where in the 210 to 240 range I want to end up and what my body and lifestyle will be like. Running is still hard, but using the elliptical is easier on the knees than it was 25 pounds ago. I want to eventually be able to do the Broad Street Run, 10 miles through Philadelphia, even though I hate running. If my knees don't like it, I'll do something else as an equivalent. As an added bonus, my sex drive I think is improving, but nowhere near what it was when I was in the 220 to 250 range. I don't think it's 100% related, but maybe it's more than 50%.
Number 14. Your parents were hip and cool before they had to pay your bills and feed you and buy you the cool clothes so you can impress the friends you'll forget about in 10 years.
Number 13. You won't feel different when you're older or have kids. You'll just be you. It's weird.
Life as a continued experience is weird. When I was much younger, I would always think about all the ways I'd be different when I was older, but I'm still just me, somewhat wiser and taller, but still the same me I've always been. It's strange, but I think I've enjoyed getting older and growing to know myself better.
Number 12. That heartache you're going through. It consumes everything now, but it will be nothing but a footnote in the future. You'll rarely think about it later, and when you do, it won't hurt you. It's hard to hear that your pain isn't the worst in the world when you're feeling it. But it does help to know that it won't mean as much as it does in this moment.
As a 35-year-old, I can say this. Your social life in high school is meaningless. You suck? Doesn't matter. You're popular? Doesn't matter. You will meet new people anyway. You will be 20 and still be an empty sheet of paper. Heck, you can start over with 30, probably with 40 and 50 again, and every age in between.
Number 11. Stop self-diagnosing yourselves with mental illnesses.
As a therapist, I second this comment. TikTok is not a valid source of diagnosis.
Number 10. You're closer to being the older person in any given setting than you think. And by old, I mean like 30. Got nieces and nephews just starting kindergarten? Ha! Blink and they're starting college. Reply. Agreed! We're having my mother's memorial this coming weekend, and it keeps striking me as bizarre that we are now the adults. We went from 15 to 45 in the blink of an eye, it seems.
Number 9. I'm 27 now, and every year or two I'm just shocked at how ignorant I was, and I'm reminded that I'm still ignorant AF and need to remain curious, challenging myself, challenging my beliefs. My parents did none of those things, experienced no meaningful paradigm shifts, and have had the same beliefs for decades on end, and they're pretty abhorrent people. So, while sometimes it feels bad to remember I was and always will be ignorant, it's also reassuring because it means I'm doing some things right, like you said.
Number 8. As you get older, you just keep realizing how dumb you were last year.
Number 7. Being controversial isn't the same as being interesting.
Number 6. Social media is not reality, and your entire life should not revolve around it.
Number 5. The price of rent and housing they will have to deal with in a few years.
Don't remind me. Please don't.
Number 4. It is perfectly fine to not know something. It's okay to not know. Stop shaming and bullying people because you learned about something before they did. Social media is not the real world, and acting like it is will only make people not want to be around you. Edit, I am not talking about ignorance. I'm talking about laughing when people ask a question in class, the "how do you not know that" crowd, the mocking of people into never asking another question out of fear of ridicule and humiliation.
Number 3. In the adult world, getting into fights doesn't make you look cool, it just makes you look stupid. Reply, my son recently asked me, if you were in a fistfight but you only defended yourself, would you still get in trouble? I said maybe not, but who decides that is, first, the onlookers and or friends of the person you fought, second, the police who will likely be called, third, the judge who hears your case.
Number 2. School has a system in place to keep you from falling behind, life doesn't. Reply. Yup. Life will run you over if you fuck around. And even if you have your shit together, you could be one financial crisis away from losing it all. I once saw a documentary on homelessness. The person they were following around said, no matter how wealthy, anyone is only 3 choices or events away from being homeless. I feel if kids took that to heart, they'd make wiser decisions.
Number 1. Early successes at this stage in your life won't necessarily give you an advantage later, but early failures will likely hold you back significantly. Basically, getting straight A's in high school will leave you closer to the mean than failing a number of classes.
Thank you for watching. If you like to watch more of these videos, please leave a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, and don't forget to share to your friends and family. I'll see you in the next video.